This is the Sideline Slice, presented by Valentino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Huskers. Here's your host, Jessica Coody, and Husker Radio Network analyst, Jeremiah Sirles.
And we are back with the Sideline Slice. Jeremiah Sirles has made it back onto the grid following his annual elk hunting trip. And if you don't follow him on social media, the group did get a couple of elk, but you are still the bridesmaid officially.
I am, but I had my opportunities this year. I can't be too upset. I was in them a lot. I had one broadside at 80 yards, which is just a little bit of a too far of a poke with a bow. But I was able to bugle them in, get them in. And then yesterday morning was our last morning. I was able to call a bull in for my buddy to 10 yards, and he shot it there with a bow, which was really fun. So that was a fun tandem kill. And we got all the meat. So I've got 8 elk quarters upstairs, and I've got a bear upstairs that I've got to process. So the Sirles meat locker is in full effect here in the next couple days.
What are you going to do with the bear meat?
Eat it.
Yeah. Like, do you make it? Is it a burger? Is it like?
No, we'll make some roast. Like, we'll take the back straps and the tenderloins and make those into steaks, and then we'll probably grind some and make like summer sausage, maybe some jerky. But I don't know. My wife's looking up some recipes, and she's a really good cook, so I'll eat whatever she makes with it. But bear's an interesting meat because it's either kind of sweet, but it's also a little greasy because bears are fat. Right, this bear had like a 3-inch fat cap on it. It was gross. But bears also, it just kind of depends on what the bear's been eating on it, if the meat's going to taste any good or not.
And all 3 of your kids are all in on all of that.
Oh, so excited. They were. So when I got home late last night, they came this morning like, I want to see the elk. And so we have all the meat in the coolers, and yeah, we've been carving it up on the upstairs table. So yeah, they love it. They're all about it.
What are you better at, the bugle or the offensive line protecting?
Ooh, probably the offensive line protection. I'm getting a lot better with my bugle. I bugled a lot of bulls around this weekend. It was a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations to the group, but we had a lot of people asking, and so you yourself did not shoot one, but you were part of.
I was part of the 2 kills, which helps.
But
that helps.
You didn't get your own yet, still, but had a good time, so that's good.
It'll happen.
Well, don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but the Michigan game, I think, you spent a lot of time on Big Red Reaction. We've talked about it. Kyle and I were joking last night. We're ready to quit talking about Michigan. But I do think there were some kind of key things that I think will carry over into this week. And I think starting with the 7 sacks that Dylan took, I mean, as an offensive line, and especially going into the bye week, how much do you think that fueled that group?
Well, it's one of those things that you want that taste out of your mouth as quickly as possible. I mean, 7 sacks in a game is just something that should never happen. And when it does, it's one of those things where you sit in that offensive line meeting room and you go into the bye week and go, that's a never ever rule. That's a never happens again type of thing. And some were on Dylan as I went back and watched it, but most of it was on the offensive line of guys just getting beat late, leaking, not sticking to their blocks there as it turns the corner. But I'm excited to see what this offensive line comes out, because the one thing they didn't do is they didn't roll over. They didn't roll over. They didn't show their underbelly. They didn't quit. They fought to the final whistle. They did everything they had. And I can live with that. I can live with an offensive line that's going to continue to fight and go. And this needs to clean up some more of the technical type stuff.
I think it's like, people were a little bit in panic mode. But, talking with Rocco Spindler after the game, hearing Coach Rule's take on it. I know you talked about this. It's not like all is lost, doom and gloom. This offensive line is terrible just because of that one game. To me, it sounds like they got popped in the mouth a little bit, then maybe we're backpedaling, lost their technique, and it just gives some credit to Michigan. But it just, don't press the panic button, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And I do feel like this group with the number of guys that have played a lot of football, I think they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder following that last performance.
Yeah, it's hard to play offensive line when you're not in control of the game, right? When you're in control of the game and you're running the football and you're controlling the clock and you got the defense on their heels and you're putting pressure on the opposing team's offense because you're scoring points, it's a lot more fun and a lot easier to play offensive line. When you were in the position that Nebraska was in last week, where you never really felt like we were in control of that game, where you felt like every time they answered, we were the ones that we were pressured to answer. And that means we got to throw the football. That means we got to convert the long third downs, and we can't afford not to score because we were struggling to move the ball up and down. That's a hard place to play as an offensive lineman because it's a lot of dropbacks. There's a lot of obvious passing situations. Michigan knows it. I've had to prepare against a Wink Martindale defense when he was with the Ravens in the NFL. Really complicated scheme to go, make sure everyone's on the same page. And it's a tough place to be. And so I'm not making excuses for them by any stretch. There is no excuse for giving up 7 sacks. But it is a tough place to be as an offense and as an offensive lineman when you're playing catch up and you're trying to chase Michigan the whole game instead of switching the script and putting the pressure on Michigan going, hey, we're going to go score. Now you go score. It always felt like Michigan did something and then Nebraska offense had to answer. And then we'd answer and then they'd go and then we had to answer again. We just never felt like we took the reins of that game offensively.
So I think, once again, we saw the rotation there at left tackle. Pritchett came in for Gunnar Gatula. The depth chart came out. It's the same on the offensive line. But I think it's safe to say the interior offensive line is pretty set, and those guys have done a pretty solid job. I think it's going to be, that's one of the things that I'll be watching very closely in warmups is just to seeing what the tackle spots look like here in warmups and then what they're going to go with to start.
Yeah, I'll be curious too. I don't think you'll have any switch ups interiorly, right? I think you're pretty set at the interior line spot with Henry and Justin and Rocco, but we're still trying to find the right combination at the tackle situation. We've seen Gunnar at left starting. We've seen Elijah at left starting. We've seen Turner come in at times. I mean, I don't know if maybe Teddy's going to move around. I think that when there is that type of performance from the tackles specifically, it is one of those things where you kind of go, hey, we got to change something, right? And maybe it's not trying to bench a guy, but maybe it's rotating guys in and trying to find that right combination that fits. And trust me, I'm not a rotation guy, and I'm not a guy that wants to keep putting bodies in and out per series, per quarter, whatever it might be. But we got to figure that position out. Tackle is a position I'll never forget when I made it my rookie year in the NFL. My offensive line coach, Joe DeLasander, said, you can't win championships without championship tackles.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very true. And right now we're still trying to find the championship tackle combination. I think we have enough tackles on this team that we just need to find the right combination of those two guys that can step up. And what a wonderful spot you can find yourself in if you're a guy like Elijah or Teddy or Turner, that you're just going to be like, hey, I'm going to run with this, and this is my spot. Like, it's still an open competition, and you're not sitting there trying to fight out and dig out a starter. The starting job is still right there for you.
Yeah, I know it's not ideal, obviously, and I don't think it's what Coach Raiola wants to do is rotating, but I go back to something that the offensive line coach at Oklahoma Sirles told me, Bill Bedenbow, and it was a group of guys that a lot of them are still playing in the NFL now, that group, but it's not just about the 5 best guys. It's about the guys that play the best together, the 5 guys that play the best together. And as much as you wish that you found that now, they haven't yet. And you are hoping that maybe it does. But I think for the time being, you can't just roll with it if it's not what you believe is the best for the offense, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's not the 5 best. It's the 5 right. You got to find the 5 right guys, the combination of the group. Because all it takes is one weak link in an offensive line and the whole game can go awry. And so you want to find the guys that can work together, communicate together, and go from there. And then once that's the building point, then you grow with, okay, now you two just sit there and you become best friends, right? You right guard, you right tackle, whoever it is. You guys are joined at the hip and you go out and you go forth and conquer. And that's what I want to find from a lot of these guys moving forward on what's going on here. But as Coach Raiola, he knows it. Coach Rule knows it. It's something that if we want to be the successful football team that we want to be, you got to have better play out of those 2 spots.
Okay, I just, a couple more and then we'll move forward and preview this one. But for the defense, if you take away 3 plays, it was a pretty solid performance in that last drive that they couldn't get off the field. But is it more frustrating or encouraging that it's basically, 2 or 3 big plays in a couple of these games?
Frustrating. It's more frustrating because explosive plays kill you, right? You can't give up the explosive plays, let alone 3 of them. and 3 explosive plays was the biggest difference in this game. And so there is no moral victories. There is no silver linings when you let a team rush for 350 yards and 150 of those came, or 175 of those, I believe, came on 3 rushes. It just can't happen. And the part that was frustrating for me is a lot of times we put ourselves in the position to make the tackle, but didn't make the tackle, right? Like there was a few there where the guys just is right there and then we didn't wrap up. Right. And so that's the stuff that's frustrating for me. It's encouraging to show that we can go toe to toe with a team like Michigan that's got 4 and 5-star recruits across the board, all at every position, and big name NFL guys. And went toe to toe with them for 60 minutes. I mean, that's encouraging. But the frustrating piece is just putting ourselves in the right position and then not being able to execute and get the guy on the ground.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so we've heard Coach Butler say this. Terry Braden said this to me last week, but just talking about guys have got to get off their blocks, have got to be able to get to the ball. When you've got some maybe younger defensive linemen, what's that look like, because you see it from the other side when guys are trying to, I guess, work through that to where they're able to, get off some blocks and make some things happen in the backfield.
Yeah, the biggest thing, you got to play with your hands. And if you don't play with your hands as a defensive lineman, you're falling right into our trap, right? Please don't play hands, because I always tell when I train my offensive linemen, in the pass game, we want length and we want extension. Hey, get away from me. I want to strike you and keep you at arm's length so that I can work and react to you. It's the complete opposite in the run game. In the run game, I tell my offensive linemen, grab those dudes and bring them to you as close as you can so that they can't see. Because if they can't see where the ball is and you cover them up and you just run your feet, they're just trying to guess. And then eventually they're going to pick a side. And if they pick the wrong side, there goes the ball carrier. And so in order to get off blocks, you've got to be better with your hands, right? Van Poppel, Judy, Winery, those dudes have to play better with their hands, because it's a domino effect. If the D-line doesn't play better with their hands, it doesn't get off blocks. It's really hard for the linebackers to then decide, hey, that guy shed the block, he took the A gap, now I can take the B gap, right? Because as a linebacker, if your defensive lineman is getting driven backwards and not getting off that block, you then have to make a decision to go, okay, I guess I'm taking the B gap, and then all of a sudden the D lineman, because he's late and can't see, takes the B gap, then the A gap's wide open. And now the safety's got to come fill that, right? So it's a complete domino effect from the defensive line all the way back to the secondary. If you can't get off blocks up front, it puts so much pressure on those dudes in the back end to make you right, versus if you can control the line of scrimmage and get off those blocks and make that running back have to make that first cut in the backfield, not before he crosses the line of scrimmage, then everyone can rally to the ball and be better on that side there. So I need this defensive line to continue to work their hands and get off blocks using their hands, not their head and their shoulders.
Is that technique or a want to?
It's technique.
Okay.
It's all technique. You can be as go-getter and as high energy and high effort as you want to be. If you don't use the proper technique, you're a blind dog in a meat house, right? You're just running around. You don't know what's going on. You're just super excited and you'll run right by guys. You have to use the proper technique from the defensive line position to get off of blocks.
Valentino's, a slice of home you just can't get anywhere else. What started with a treasured family recipe has become a Nebraska tradition for over 68 years. Proud to be the official pizza of the Huskers.
All right, another thing that's I know that they've focused a lot on and want to be better at going into this week, and it wasn't even just against Michigan. It's been a little bit of a trend, but executing in the red zone and putting touchdowns, getting 6 and 7 on the board, not 3. What have you seen as maybe the biggest issues with the offense not being able to execute as efficiently as they want in the red zone?
Yeah, the biggest thing, when you get into the red zone from a more macro perspective, from an offensive viewpoint, the second you cross the 20, that field becomes so condensed. Things happen faster. Routes don't have as long to develop. Right? Everything has to you have to speed up as a quarterback, as an O-lineman, as a receiver, as a running back, because everything is getting condensed more and more and more as you get closer to the goal line. And it seems as we continue to move our way into the red zone, not our tempo, our urgency's got to be just a little bit better from a detail-oriented perspective. If that route's got to be at 3.5 yards and you're rubbing at 3 yards, that has to be precise, because if you're off by even a yard there, now that linebacker can stick on you longer, and now Dylan has to hold the ball for a second longer, and now there's the sack, or then Dylan has to throw it away, or that hole closes a lot faster in the running game because those safeties aren't 20 yards back, now they're 12 yards back. So it's just one of those things that the details matter so much more when you enter into the red zone as an offense. We just need to continue to hone in on those details, because little mistakes in the red zone are what cost you 4 points from a touchdown into a field goal.
Okay, let's move forward and talk this week. What are some of the biggest areas that, because the offense moved the ball pretty well at times, and they have continued to, and Michigan State's dealing with some injuries. I think Kyle was saying they're last in the Big Ten in pass defense. You feel like this maybe could be a day that we see this offense really try to air it out?
I would think so. I would think that, you want to use your strength against their weakness. And so we want to see us air it out and go out there and do what we need to do. Something that I looked at and I talked about on Big Red Reaction was our third down offense was not very good last week. The money down, right? You got to convert third downs, especially in the third quarter. We came out in the third quarter and I think we were 0 for 4 on third downs. And that just can't happen. You got to stay efficient, and you got to be able to win the money down. And that again goes back to what I talk about on the show all the time, being really good on first down, right? The two work together so well. Putting yourself in third and manageable, not third and long, is what allows you to have a higher third down completion percent or third down conversion percentage. And so I would like to see us come out and continue to air it out and high fly and let the thing rip and get back on track for sure.
Okay, and then defensively, Michigan State's going to be without their starting left tackle, but you know all the talk about the guys going in the first round, what the talk is with scouts and all of that, and it sounds like Aiden Childs is a popular guy that the guys at the next level are really liking Michigan State's quarterback.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's looked really good in this system, and it's a very quarterback-friendly system. Right. It's an outside zone system where you want to run and bootleg and then have the long developing crossing routes and be able to put the ball in the money. But, he's done a really nice job. But again, it's their strength versus our strength.
Right.
Our passing coverage has been fantastic. I mean, we even held Underwood. We held him down from a passing standpoint really through the entire game until that last drive. And so I'm excited to see strength versus strength here. I think this will be the biggest test Nebraska's backhand has faced up to this point with Childs and this receiver group that Michigan State has. And so, it's going to be a lot on our defensive line to get Childs off his spot, get to his feet, affect his throw, get into his face so that he can't just sit back there, because he is good enough that given time, he will find the open man.
Okay, so let's get to some keys. What are the biggest keys for this one?
Yeah, I think the biggest key for me is we got to tackle in space. That was something that it reared its ugly head again for us against Michigan. Is they tackled in space. Michigan tackled in space very well. Nebraska tackled in space really poorly. And so my number one key is Nebraska one-on-one situations on defense, getting the guys on the ground, right? Or at least hitting them and slowing them up, not having completely swing and a miss tackles, but holding on to that guy and waiting for the cavalry to come. And so that's a big key this week, because with that passing attack, there are yak yards that are going to happen. So if he throws an 8-yard hitch route, boom, stick him right there, hit him and get him on the ground. Don't allow him to turn the corner and turn an 8-yard route into a 15, 17-yard gain. So that's my first key. The second key is don't panic on offense. Don't think we have to change. Just stay within the system. Get back to what we were doing. It's not like we had to go to the drawing board. We got shut out by Michigan. Oh my gosh, here we go. The quick passing game, getting the ball into our receivers' hands quickly. Michigan State's defense is not Michigan's. They don't have the talent on the back end that Michigan has. Guys like Key and Hunter and Lindenmeyer, get them going again with the yards after catch piece there, and then just continue to let Archie Wilson be a weapon. I mean, he is so good, right? It's okay offense if we get 3 or 4 first downs and we can let Archie go and pin them inside the 10 and make them go the distance. So just continue to allow Archie to be a weapon for us and have him continue to work really well.
I know another one of the big storylines was the number 2 running back behind Emmett, and it was asked about last week, this week again, and I know that that's still something that they are trying to get those guys going, somebody going behind Emmett Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, it still seems like it's a running back by committee thing after RB1, and that's a good thing. You have a lot of guys jockeying for that spot, but we've reached the point in the year where someone's got to be a clear RB2. Because we need a reliable person that we can take some load off of Emmett Johnson and not have this drop off in production in the run game. So whether it's Quentin Ives, whether it's Mosey, whether it's, Nelson, whoever it might be, go take the job, man. It's right freaking there in front of you. Go be the guy that's going to go, all right, Emmett's RB1. He won that competition. Obviously, that's where it is. I'm going to go take my role on this football team, which is RB2. And I'm going to make the most out of the 8 or 9 carries that I'm going to get per game to spell Emmett, but not put this offense in a bad situation. So I really, really want to see who through this bye week has taken that opportunity and taken advantage of that and it can come out and be an actual contributor against Michigan State, not just a placeholder. Why
is it so hard for those young running backs to pass protect? Why is that such a challenge?
Oof, pass protecting's hard, man. It's not easy to stop someone who's running forward at you and you're kind of moving lateral and backwards and, oh yeah, don't lunge and don't hit them with your head and make sure you use your hands and make sure you move your feet. Pass protection's tough. It's one of the hardest things to do in football because it's an unnatural position to move backwards and stop someone who's running forward. And so it's all technique driven. It's all strength driven. And it's all about a lot of the running back position is want to. Are you willing to take on that linebacker who's probably bigger than you, probably stronger than you? Are you willing to go put yourself in harm's way to protect your quarterback? And the ones that will are the ones that play, and the ones that don't are the ones that find themselves sitting on the bench asking, why am I not playing?
Yeah, I think more so, I guess, from a younger, being that it just takes time, right? And reps.
And you don't really pass protect in high school. If you're the guy, if you're the guy at running back in high school, you're touching the ball 30 times and running the ball for 250 yards. You're not stepping and putting your face against linebackers. And if you are, you're probably bigger than them, right? You're the strongest guy on the field if you're a Division I running back playing in college and high school football. And so when you get to college and those dudes are 22, 23 years old and been in a college weight program for a long time, they're just going to try and run you over as a young player and go, hey, do you have the lead in the butt to sit down on this? And then once you do and you get okay, then they're going to start working pass rush moves on you. So it's an evolution thing. And that's why it's such a technique driven assignment to pass protect as any position on the field.
A lot of times those high school running backs too, they're catching it. They might be throwing it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I didn't come here to pass protect. It's like, oh, you want to play on the field, you're going to learn how to pass protect.
Okay, who are your players to watch this? Who might have big days for the Huskers?
I don't know if it's the big days, but I want to watch Teddy Prohaska, Elijah Pritchett, Turner Corcoran, Gunnar Gatula, right? Like those 4 dudes got to show up. I don't know what combination of what 4 of those guys are going to be out there at what point in given time, but that's going to be a position that's going to be tested this week. Blood in the water was put last week at the tackle position. I'm excited to see from those 4 guys who rises and who comes out there with their hair on fire and takes those tackle spots.
Was there something on film that now teams can do that Michigan did? Or
yeah, and I don't want to single guys out or anything here, but Teddy really opened himself up to the speed rush. That guy turned the corner on him multiple times with a really good get off and was able to dip and get around his big, tall frame and turn the corner on that piece there. And then from the left tackle side, both Elijah and Gunnar at times really struggled to pass off the twists. And so when you struggle to pass off twists from the tackle position, that's something that you put on tape. You're going to get tested early in that. I would expect our first third down to see a twist on the left side, whoever's at tackle, to see if we've figured out a way to work with Henry and pass that 3 technique and 5 technique off, or a TE or an ET, or, hey, we're going to run the Mike linebacker and twist him there. Because there's a lot of times where the linebacker came and actually picked Teddy and then the DN looped around. So we put some things on tape that Michigan State's going to look and go, okay, did they fix these things throughout the bye week? So that's why I'm looking at that tackle position, because you got to take that stuff and go, nope, that stuff is no longer an issue. We have fixed that. You better try something else.
Great stuff. Hey, potential maybe a big day for Deshaun McCullough? Potentially?
You would hope so. You would hope so. You know, I think that he's a guy that you want to see continuing to get better. I think the needle's pointed up for him. He's just gotten better and better every single week, getting closer to the quarterback, winning on the things, finding ways. Again, he's one of those guys that I'm looking for. Hey, you get that one-on-one matchup in space, go make that tackle.
All right, and you are back on Big Red Reaction. You're going to be doing the tailgater of the game, right? All the things.
I'm back. I'm back to the land of the living. I'm back to the real world, back to Husker football. So you'll see me run around on the gator out there. Like I said, bring the energy or you ain't going to see me.
All right. Great stuff, my friend. Glad you made it back on the grid. And the hunt for Sirles elk continues in next year. To be continued, another season of it.
To be continued. 2026 is my year. I can feel it.
All right, for Jeremiah Sirles, I'm Jessica Coody. This has been the Sideline Slice presented by Valentino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Huskers.
Go Big Red.
Valentino's treasured Italian family recipes have been passed down for generations and still locally owned and operated. Valentino's proudly serving Nebraskans in Memorial Stadium for over 30 years.